Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Let me turn up the volume here. It sounds a little low. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week as always. And if not, that's okay. That's why we come on here each Wednesday. I want to make sure that I am here to give you answers and give you supports and tools to help you get through the week and get through your life. Right? Help you to see that it doesn't have to be that you're only surviving your life, but you're actually thriving in your life. Why not? And I do this work because I also have to do this work. Every day there are things that come up. Some days it's even harder. But if we have the tools that we need to, we can have the worst day and yet get through it with joy and ease and peace and tranquility. And that is my goal in being on here each and every week. And those of you who come back and you ask questions and you let me know what you're thinking and different things that are coming up, then I'm able to make this more personalized for you. And I really appreciate that because that's my goal. I do this because it helps me in my life, because I love helping others. And when I'm helping others, it's just like, yay! Hey there, Timothy. Oh, I love you too, sweetheart. My cousin. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I appreciate your responses. I love that you guys are always on here making a difference. Please go ahead and take a look at the recording. You'll see that there's a share option, but you can also join me in Zoom. If you want to speak to me directly, you can join me in Zoom. And if you look at the Facebook Live group, I'm going to send you that link right now. I can't just give the information out because we get trolls. And trolls put some nasty stuff into a Zoom room. I've been in some of those and it's just like, that's happening right now. Oh my gosh, this is so happening right now. And it's not good. So what you can do is you can go right to this link here, and I'm going to put it in the chat so you can see it. And the idea, guys, is go ahead and ask me questions here on Facebook Live, but you can also go into the Facebook group, and I'm putting you the information right here for you now. You'll see it in the post, right? And when you're in there, you're going to see that you can go to the group, and I'm putting it right there, right now, so you can see it. And when you go to the Relief from Anxiety group, it's for anybody, but also focuses on entrepreneurs. The idea is if you go into that group, you're going to see the Zoom link and you can come on here to Zoom, but also having a group that can support you. Other people who are dealing with some of the same issues feels really good because then you're like, well, I'm not crazy, I'm not alone, and this is just something that's human. So go into the group, Relief from Anxiety and Negative Thinking. The link is there. If you're watching this, you'll be able to see the link. And if you're watching this much later and the link's not attached, reach out to me. Reach out to me on any social media, on my cell phone number right over here. You'll see it next to me. I want you to get your answers. I want you to get your support. I do not want you to thinking you are in this alone. I did that for years. And as I learned this information that I share with you guys now, the relief that happens in your body and in your mind and in your life is essential. So that way, when super, super crazy things come up, because they will, then you're just like, okay, this is punching me in the stomach, but I still have the tools. I still know how to work through it. So it feels really good. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before I do that, I want you to go to the recording, click share, and then share this out into your group so other people can join you and other people can see what's available. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to share stuff like this with somebody. You're like, oh, I don't know how to tell them. I don't want them to think, I'm telling them there's something wrong with them or anything like that. So then just share it out and then you don't have to worry about that. So I'm also doing the same thing. I'm sharing it out right now. All right, cool beans. So that taken care of. Now, what I'd like for you to do, if you haven't heard it yet, there's a song by Taylor Swift. Now, a lot of you, I know some of you were talking about it, which is what gave me the idea for the topic. Plus, I also can relate to it quite a bit myself. Taylor Swift decided to do a song called Anti-Hero. And the idea is really just being able to share her weaknesses, share the things that she thinks about of herself that are not heroic, right? So, for example, And just so you know, this song also speaks to me. So if you hear me being emotional, it's because I am. There are times when people share their emotions and you can really relate to them. And this is one of those songs that I do. I relate to almost every piece of it. So the first part is where she's talking about feeling older but not wiser. Now, I've had a lot of clients, and this included myself for a long time, that said, I feel like I'm older, but I still feel like a kid. I feel like everybody's older than me, or everybody's more successful than me. Everybody's doing better than I am. And I dealt with that a very long time. Only the last 5 years have I really kind of moved out of that. But I want you to know any of these things that we're talking about, just because you're dealing with them, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You're just having thoughts. Let me say that again. You're just having thoughts. That's it. So I would like for you to think about how you can have thoughts, and thoughts are safe. Thoughts don't mean anything bad about you. Thoughts don't mean that you have to judge yourself or think a particular way about yourself. I'm going to share something with you that I created, and it's an infographic. Basically, it's a guide that gives you a visual, because the subconscious mind works in pictures. And this picture is going to give you some thoughts that you can be keeping in mind. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And you can let me know when you see it. All right. You should be seeing it now. If not, it might take a little second. So give it a second while I'm talking. Okay. So the idea, guys, is you're going to have thoughts. You're going to have different things come up where you might find, oh, I'm not believing in myself. I'm judging myself. I'm stupid. I'm, not smart enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not, whatever the words are, it sounds different for everybody. Some of them sound very cruel, and they're cuss words, and they sound very almost evil, right? Like to a person. And that's how our mind could be working. If you make it wrong and bad, then you shove it away. But if you allow yourself to work on it and talk about it, it actually helps you get to a place where, instead of trying to avoid your inner critic or shut down your inner critic or kill your inner critic, you just recognize it. Like, oh, there's that voice. Oh, what is that thought going on there? That thought. And allow yourself to realize that all thoughts and all emotions are actually helpful. Helpful even just to check in and go, what's going on there? I wonder why I'm having that thought. What is it I need? Do you hear that question? What is it I need? That's a very important question. As you're allowing yourself to check in and give yourself the nurturing that you need, that inner critic just stops. Yeah. So very first thing, taking a look at understanding when you're saying to yourself anything that's negative. If you have a negative thought, okay, what is it I need? But if you keep living into that negative thought, right? Like, as you're listening to the Taylor Swift song, she's just saying that she's the problem, she's the problem, she's the problem. And there's proof, right? She's finding proof. She says, my depression's getting bigger. I'm thinking of all the people that I ghosted, and making herself feel bad. She's saying, I'm waking up screaming and knowing that you're leaving. That one gets me every time. I told you I might get emotional, because as a kid, so many people left. My grandmother left. And then, my mom was abusive, so I felt like she left emotionally. Then my dad was abusive, and it felt like he left emotionally in every particular way. And being put in foster care, it's like all of your family leaves, although you're being taken away. So there was this concept, everyone's going to leave. So it's important to notice that we might have these things that get pushed and these little buttons that get triggered. And it's okay, right? I am not going through that. My little me was going through that. And that was sad for her. And when I'm thinking about that, I'm taking myself back to that. And so it's important to realize that there's nurturing that needs to be had. So for example, when I heard that song, let me tell you, that got me. And so it was just like, okay, it's okay, you're okay. You have people in your life that love you. You have great relationships. You know, people just don't leave, right? Everybody passes through in relationship. And, you know, if a relationship doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that they left or you left. It meant that it wasn't a good fit, and it's okay, right? And bringing that nurturing and that understanding actually helps you to build that self-esteem and understand your inner voice and shift the inner voice, instead of saying something like everyone leaves, which creates pain even when I say it. Like, no, you have relationships with people and you're there for them and they're there for you. And lots of people stay in your life. Depends on if you choose to keep them in your life or not. Depends on the work that you're doing or not. And when I work with clients, I help them, like if they're always pushing people away, I help them learn how to stop doing that. If they're accepting unhealthy people into their life, I help them learn how to stop doing that. If they're in the midst of looking at a divorce, we take a look at why, what's going on. Can that actually be worked on between the two of you, and things like that. So being able to shift, right? Even as I'm saying these things, my own mind, my own little sad emotions and experience, my little me, she's feeling more nurtured, right? Because I can feel that calm happening. But when I step into everyone's going to just leave, I'm speaking to her pain as a little girl, because everyone did, and helping her to understand you're okay, right? I am here for you. I'm never going to leave you. And although you might say, well, that's weird, it's the truth. I'm always going to be looking out for myself, but we don't think about it like that, because instead we're always going, oh, shut up, get over it, stop crying, what's wrong with you? We shift from being the problem into being the solution, into being the nurturing, into helping ourselves, looking at our future. What is it I want to create? I want to create a life that I love. I want to create healthy relationships. I want to create great communication. I want to create relationships that last. And create relationships that if there's problems, that they're open to talking about it, and that we're open to working on it together, so we continue to make it last. And so that brings that support and that nurturing that the mind and body in that moment of being triggered doesn't know how to get to it. So you want to learn those tools and learn that practice. So you can see, even through what I just shared with you, and you guys know I do my work to be transparent, stuff's going to push your buttons that quickly, that quickly. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with a feeling of sadness. That sadness says, hey, that part of you needs some nurturing and needs some love, and I'm going to give her some, because look how quick that came up. And I actually have been, since I heard that song. I realized that pushed a button for me. It actually touched some big sadness for me. I also have a friend of mine who's sick and almost passed away, and so that brings that up. I have been working on some things in my relationship, and that brings that up. So it's not just about my little me. It's about giving nurturing to some things that are kind of scary in my life right now. And so it's like, it's okay. You're doing everything that you need to. You're staying in touch. You're staying in communication. You're doing okay. You're going to do the best you can no matter what happens. And so it's okay to know that even in the current experience that it may push those buttons, that support is important. If instead I were to say, and let me tell you, as I'm listening to that song, it actually takes me to the practice of I am the problem, because I used to think that when I was little. I didn't think it, I knew it. I knew I was the problem. I used to wish that God would take me, right? My mom was pregnant many, many times. There was 12 babies and 4 of us lived. And so every time a baby would die, I would have this belief, babies don't come home. That was one. And then the other belief, well, if God's taking them and everyone says God just wants another angel, then that must be confirmation that I'm not, that I'm a bad person, that God doesn't want me, that he can't hear me, that he won't get me out of this hell kind of thing. And I was a little kid thinking those crazy thoughts, right? I don't mean crazy like I'm crazy, like whoa, that's wild. So it's important that if that sadness comes up, we address it. There's also, I've done years of work. Yeah, I'm 45. I'll be 46 next month. I've done years of work to be able to take a look at that and look at it more in a neutral, loving, kind, supportive way. I've worked with so many clients, they're just brand new to this. They don't know how to do that. So don't expect yourself to know how to do that if you haven't had training and practice. It's not something that's naturally taught. Instead, we're taught to avoid it. Instead, we're taught to say things like, I'm the problem, it's me. Instead, we're taught things like they're always going to leave me. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to always mess this up. Yeah, it's true. I can find the proof. People say this and people say that. So it is true about me, right? I don't know how to break out of it. I don't know how to not have bad dreams. I don't know how to not overeat. I don't know how to not get into new relationships that are miserable, just like the one before, right? Or whatever is showing up for you. But instead, you can take a look at, how is it that I can identify with this inner voice? How can I shift it so it can be instead a positive inner voice, right? We don't need to get rid of the inner voice. We need to help to teach it to learn how to be your cheerleader instead of the one pulling you down. Cool, right? And it's so doable. That's the way the mind works. It's just learning how to practice in a way that fits how the mind works, instead of practice in a way that use how the mind works in a negative, hurtful, putting down way. The other thing, that one question, what is it I need? Versus, what's wrong with you? You're such the problem. What is it I need? And then really ask that with compassion. Do you hear how I'm asking that? Not like, oh, what do you want? What do you need? Different. Tone matters. Compassion matters. And think about it like this. A lot of times we think about ourselves as that over there, right? That issue. I don't have to go to the bathroom. I'm fine, whatever. I don't need a plan for eating. I don't need water. I don't need to think about it. I'm just too busy. Whatever. I'll take care of it later. Take care of it later. Versus, that is a human being you're talking about. If it was another human being and somebody said, oh, don't worry about that human being. They don't need water. They don't need food. They don't need care. They don't need that stuff. Whatever. Just forget about it. If you're somebody with compassion and caring, you'd be like, excuse me, is there something wrong with your mind? What if it was a kid? You'd be like, that's abuse. Same thing works for adults. It's still abuse. And they still deserve care. You are a human being doing the best that you can, trying to make a difference in the world, help other people. What kind of person that you would think who is making a difference in the world, trying the best they can, having a hard time a lot of the times, needing help but not asking for it, not knowing how, that person just needing that support, needing a smile, would you say to them, whatever, you don't deserve that, just keep working, there's too much to do, go ahead? No, you wouldn't. What you want to realize is you have been. You've been doing that to you. So I'd like for you to imagine a person that you love, or a pet that you love, a creature, a living thing that you love, that you would take care of. That no matter what, you'd be like, it's okay, no worries, don't stress out, I'm going to help you, I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to give you what you need. What do you need? And then imagine treating you that way. Imagine that you do have a child, you do have this human being that you love. And if you're a guy, then imagine it's a little boy. If you're a girl, imagine that it's a little girl. Give yourself that space to see you as this little being that needs love and care and planning and compassion and water and being walked and being played with, and allowing them to see that they have value. And that will help you grow your self-worth. Understanding about your inner voice, understanding that it's helpful and how to shift it instead of trying to squash it and kill it. Your inner voice is there to protect you. That is the goal of it. But as you grew, a lot of the protection modes have been incorrect and unhealthy. It's just about learning that and changing it. And then as you're doing this process, you're going to find that you're motivating yourself. Because when you wake up and you're like, okay, before I open my eyes, I'm going to think about myself as being a little kid. What do I need? Am I going to tell myself I look ugly and fat today? Am I going to tell myself I have no time? Am I going to tell myself I don't want to get out of bed and everything's miserable? Or am I going to tell myself I'm so super busy and I've got to get to this and I've got to get to that and I've got to get to this and I don't have time to take care of myself? Or am I going to take a moment, just like I would with a little kid, and I'd be like, hi, honey, it's so good to see you. I love you. Good morning. Allowing yourself to be in gratitude. Allowing yourself to check in Just because somebody's bigger doesn't mean you can't look at them and go, you were totally awesome. I love you. You're so great. You're doing such a good job, and it's going to get even better. If there's stuff that you don't like about you, that's okay. You just learn whatever skills you need, or we stop judging that particular area, whatever that looks like. We're going to do that today. You've done so many great things this year, and you're going to do so many more. And here's a few, and you give yourself just a few things to do, major priorities. There's lots of little things you'll do today, but like 3 to 5 priorities versus a whole list of impossibility for a human being. And just let yourself notice as you're going through the day, getting those things done, how good it feels. Speak life into you. You're doing a great job. Oh my gosh, I so appreciate how you didn't really blow up at that person, although you wanted to. I so appreciate how you're making a difference in the world. I love how you made that person smile today. You made their day. I love how you were really thoughtful about that person and you got them this or you did that. I love how you're making a difference in the world with your work or with your family. Speak those things. Allow that inner critic to become your inner cheerleader. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you. It's always my honor. I love the questions that you guys give. I love the hearts that you give, hearts back. And I love that you're taking on your lives. Continue to take on your lives. You deserve it. Allow yourself to reach out, ask me whatever questions that you have. I totally appreciate you. There is no unhealthy question or stupid question or, any of that stuff. Take out any judgment. Timothy says, oh, so sorry to hear about your beautiful friend. Me too. He says he has no questions. Amen. Praise God and hallelujah. Prayers are sent up. Thank you so much, Timothy. Yeah. And guys, if there are any areas that you want prayer as well, please let me know, right? Just like Timothy, we do pray. We do want to make sure that we're all praying up. And if you guys say, hey, there's this area that I'd like for you to pray for me, then I'll announce it here. And like I mentioned for you guys with my friend, Claudette, we can definitely just add her into prayer and pray that God can help her body to heal and just help her as she's alive to just experience joy and peace versus the pain that her body is racked with right now. And then, of course, too, I'm also open for prayer on anything, because I could always use prayer in my personal life, my business, with my marriage, with my family, in any way. So that's always open. So thank you so much. And Timothy, thank you so much for being here and engaging. I love you guys for doing that, and I love your hearts. Again, any other questions, you guys do let me know. And that actually will guide into next week of what our topic will be, to make sure that you get your questions answered in your life and that you get action steps to take on in your life, just like you have with these. These are literally action steps to take on. Now, this guide, this step-by-step little guide points is going to be available tomorrow. So if you'd like it, you can actually comment now, and you can just put in there self-esteem, and you'll get a copy of this recording. You'll get the link for it, and you'll get a copy of the guide there, the points, the checklist. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Know that you're loved, whether you like it or not. And you take care of you, grow that self-esteem. Help yourself to see that you are amazing, you are loved, you are valuable. And you deserve to be able to know these things. So get on here every Wednesday, share this information with your friends, ask your questions, and make sure that you realize there's nothing wrong with your thoughts or your emotions. You just don't know how to use them yet. And this will help you to learn how to do that. Again, my name is Tammy Workman-Lopez. I am your anxiety relief mindset reset coach. And I can help you in any area and any topic to help you get anything you feel like you're bound down or stuck with, help you to get that out of your way. So we only have a little bit of life, and we need to continue to get that stuff out of the way so we can experience life with joy and peace and just so much abundance. So that way we're always at the best frequency ever in our lives. You take care of you. Bring it in. Big squishy hugs for health. You take care of you. I love that we do this because then I get hugs too. I know you guys are sending hugs. And I'm sending these hugs to you as well. So feel them, allow them, and know that you are worthy. Take care of you. And I'm going to stop screen share. All right, you guys, you take care of yourselves. Ciao for now. See you next Wednesday.